Had some very wet weekends for the WAFL, but Mother Nature has been kind. Good crowd has built. And the two best teams of 2016 eyeballing each other on the biggest stage in local footy. Subiaco and Peel, we are underway in the grand final. Clark launching himself. Delahunty couldn't take it. And DeLuca with the first meaningful touch. Yaron on the chest. De Boer cruising past. Early ball work is good by Peel. Into the pocket. Tucker, and he finds his man. Atmas with a vice-like grip. What a start this would be.
He had a quiet week statistically, Michael Atmas, last week, but he contested really fiercely. Conditions to suit today.
You're right, Bally. His contested marking through this final series has been really important. I reckon if he can play a bit closer towards goal today, Michael Atmas, he may just get a few looks at it.
Runs around on the left, doesn't make great contact. Won't be a score, in fact. It might be now off the outside of his boot. And it hits the post.
Interesting choice by Atmas to go with the left-arm snap. I reckon for the big fella there, maybe the banana might have been a better option.
Yeah, still an area of some big ruckman's game. They need to improve that. Close to goal kicking, just didn't quite strike it right.
Slick ball movement by the Thunder from the opening stoppage. Silvani amongst that congested pack alongside Collins.
It is a worry for me, though. Peel very, very tall, particularly if they rest the ruckman forward. Jackson 190, Jordan Lockyer 192, Atmas is 200, and of course Griffin and Clark over that as well.
Both sides happy to start with the loose behind the football.
Clark directs it down. Going to ground. Call is for ball by the Subiaco players and supporters. Phelan over the top of Tucker. The umpire calls for it. De Boer. Kitchen. Delahunty's hand pass missed the mark. The Lions still to get their ball movement from stoppages moving.
Got to be a big matchup. Nyhouse on Ryan, Bootsma's on Stevenson. We've got Sam Collins on Clancy Wheeler.
Opening score to the Thunder. Clark over the top of Delahunty and infringing in the process.
At the other end of the ground, Bally, it looks like that heel's got the job on the dangerous Shane Yaron.
Broughton sold into trouble. Getting back with the flight. His shoes couldn't control it.
A big challenge for Hamish Shepherd up against Silvani today. Doesn't have to win the position, but just has to get the ball to the ground to give his teammates a chance. He's had a terrific season, Hamish Shepherd, but Silvani, he's back into the season, played on some of the biggest names in the AFL and done a good job, so a big challenge there.
Delahunty directs it to the front. Kitchen and DeLuca go to ground. De Boer getting busy. Keeps it in the field of play. In fact, no, it's out on the full. It'll be a Subiaco ball.
Looks like DeLuca's got the job on the dangerous Lee Kitchen through the midfield also.
Broughton heads to Lockyer.
Had a good final series, DeLuca. Really pushed himself into the midfield. Started in there today. Had some key possessions early.
A Subiaco premiership player, no less. Switch is made. There's Heel. Heads to the outer side. Lions the chance to work the middle. Horsley's ball out the back. Wheeler on the chest. Unguarded 50-metre arc, so he has to hold up. And with a launch in the Ryan direction, Clark from the angle at the back. Delahunty acting as the rover, couldn't reel it in.
Collins on Wheeler before, just dropped off him. Just got to make sure you're a lot tighter because Wheeler will present at the footy all day long, and ball got to the back, which allowed Wheeler to take that mark and get the ball inside forward 50 for this stoppage.
Clark first hands on it. At the back, Robinson taken down by Bootsma and co. And contested footy, we've seen how good Subiaco have been for a long period of time. Peel in this final series have done it superbly. Blakely received it from Clark. Broughton back to Hoskins, flips it up. Peel players swarming around the footy. Ugle did well. Waters keeps it in. And the Lions can advance. So many numbers back though for Peel, and they've managed to block it up and head towards Yaron, who keeps his feet. Peel knocks it down. Mzungu there to receive. A cross and turn to Tucker, and he spots a man in De Boer, the run provided by Muzungu. Dangerous for the Subiaco defence here because Ugle has a man over the top, sweeping hand pass, couldn't make its way to the targeting Griffin. The hand pass back towards the ruckman. It'll be a free kick to Peel.
Yeah, legs. Well, interesting decision by Ugle to go for a 40-metre handball. Easy from here, but the quick kick over the top because Griffin was running into an open goal scorer. It's ended well for Peel, just taking the legs out in that contest. Big Jono Griffin pushing forward.
A couple of mistakes there from Delahunty. The first just to fist the ball away. Probably had time to be able to grab that ball, but unfortunately he fisted away. He made a mistake. He went back at it, sliding in. Gives Peel, Big Jono Griffin, the first shot.
So Griffin, 30 out, directly in front. And they've had 2 chances, blown them both.
2 of their big ruckmen. Aptness took a good mark before, but Griffin, experienced player, expect him to go back and put that through, but that's finals pressure.
It's so crucial, that early accuracy in any game of football, but particularly grand finals.
What we did see was great transition from Peel across half-back. They'll win the football and they'll move it really quickly like they did before.
Great hands by Wheeler. Did he come off the line? Not according to the umpire. This game's got a good feel about it. Broughton about to be run down. Forced a kick to a contest. Toomey was there. Latham, brilliantly trapped by Pearce to Blakely. Muzungu at close quarters. Tucker. And now De Boer. A little fumble. Robinson over it. And he might be penalised.
Yeah.
Did enough to hold it up, but he really needed to get that ball free, and De Boer has won it back. Blakely down the line. Courage required here, and Broughton had it in spades. At the back, Jackson taken on by Ballick. Incorrect disposal. No whistle came. Broughton's been busy. Oh, handed it straight to Yaron. He steps out of bounds, and the umpire was on the spot.
Probably lucky there, Broughton. Firstly, the fist had to get that ball out of bounds. Then to cough the handball up to Shane Yaron.
What a story he would be if he could win a premiership medal with Peel a year after doing likewise for Subiaco. Amongst all that, playing AFL football for the Dockers. Ball at the 50. Still searching for our first goal through 7 intense minutes of football. Blakely at the back, Pearce. Ducking the head was O'Brien, but he was taken high.
Smart play by O'Brien, just knew he was in trouble, ducked the head, drew the free kick. Now he gets another inside 50.
The centering ball. Up went Bootsma. Had a piece of it as well. And Peel's pressure evident. Subiaco given no space.
It was a good leap from Bootsman, wasn't it? He's a fair athlete.
They're pressing at the moment, Peel. Cocky scrambles one to the wing. Stevenson had Collins. The hand pass overshoots the mark. And the umpires, the players, all feeling the heat of this.
This is what Subiaco love to do, make it hard for the opposition. They frustrate you. They've had the dominance early in this match, have Peel thunder, but only 2 points to show for it.
Delahunty alongside Griffin. Ball not coming out, although Cocky extracts it. Little clever kick by Robinson, makes about 20 metres. Ryan gathers, what can he produce? Breaks free, Robinson provides a run, an unguarded goal square, chips it short. Moore has Waters over the top. The kick was terrible, and it's turned over in the blink of an eye. Langdon, that leg speed. It is double demerits this weekend, but he continues. Got his journey. A bounce to the 50, into the pocket, on the target, and he spots him. That was turnover footy, critically at half forward for Subiaco.
Well, it was a horrible turnover by Moore when Subiaco looked like they had plenty of space in their forward line, and as we know, leg speed from Ed Langdon just took the game on, and this man, Shane Yaron, what a classy player.
Around the body, he's put too much on that as well, so 3 misses for Peel off the back of an Ed Langdon run, and he's re-signed with Fremantle. That's just an example of what he can produce given time and space.
He's an exciting player, isn't he? And Shane Yaron, just on that kick, could have gone out another 3 or 4 metres. So another missed snap around the goal from Peel. They'll rue these missed opportunities.
Long ball. Jackson camped in front. Got a fist to it, but Ugle at the spill. Langdon advances again off the outside of his boot. Lawler. This time, it's opportunity number 4.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there, Langdon. He was shaping to kick that from sort of inboards, but it was quite fortuitous that it ended up with Lawler. This is crucial because poor kicking can become contagious and needs to go back and get Peel's first goal for the afternoon.
Local product in the sunlight. But there's gloom over this scoreboard, which reads 4 behinds to Peel. And Subiaco are yet to score, but they'll feel as if they've kept themselves right in the mix.
You're right, Bally. You just got to make the most of these opportunities because you know how good Subiaco are and they will get their moments in this game. It is contagious. They've got to do a lot better than what they've done so far.
Almost want it back there, Peel. In fact, they should Ugle over it. It's a hot ball in there. Collins came over the top and a bit of mustard with the tackle. Some feeling in this one, as you'd expect, so much at stake. Griffin directs it down. Toomey, blind handball. Looks out okay for more, though. Shepherd and Silvani. Ryan in the mix as well. Shepherd off the ground. Played it well, the big man. A gather, a give. Stevenson, the first for the afternoon, for the grand final. No less. Peel plunder and Subi strike.
Got to take your opportunities early in these grand finals. Liam Ryan's performance didn't get a stat, but got his body in there, opened up for Hamish Shepherd, and really good play, ran on, and in the end, Stevenson with Subiaco's first goal.
Took 12 minutes. Stevenson, the recipient of some great work by Ryan and Shepherd. Clearances again, oh so critical. Phelan is over it. Wheeler goes to ground. Griffin wants to flip it out the back to Luca. Around his body, another forward 50 entry. Jackson didn't have a prior opportunity. Release handball. Oh, Bell overran it. Little nervous moment here for the Subiaco defence. Bell has it again. The hand pass away. Bally gets boots the ball to a dangerous area. Getting back was Latham as we head down to Steve Butler for a check. Boundary side, good afternoon to you, Steve.
Yes, good day, boys, and particularly some body checking off the ball by Subiaco. You said they like to make it hard for their opponents. Well, there's lots of body contact just off the ball, and you can already see that it's having some impact on the Peel players.
Wonderful work by Waters. Horsley was run down. It is a Peel football, but they did well in a tight situation as Adam Cockey takes a breather.
It was a terrific chase by Ed Langdon. For me, I think just Peel going a bit one-handed, trying to play the fancy football just without taking care of the fundamentals first of all.
Here's Blakely, as mentioned, 42 disposals last week against South Fremantle. Next to a contest. Griffin fends off one. To Luca. Leads it back to Langdon, who's winning plenty of it. Over the top went Lockyer by hand. And as we'd expected, this is a game of centimetres. The pressure is high, the intensity is befitting the premiership decider. Clark with first hands on it. Subiaco expect to concede in the ruck for most of the day. Horsley in the Shepherd direction. Close to the line is Hughes, and over the top is Stevenson.
Showed some good signs this year, Ethan Hughes, for Fremantle when he came in the half-back line. Composed, good run, and used the ball well.
And the restart. Toe poked inside the 50, but Silvani comfortably on the slide. Here's Mzungu. O'Brien provides the lead. Wasn't great delivery. In fact, that's symptomatic of some of Peel's work. They have owned the football at times, Peter, but they just haven't, as you said, been able to translate that into clean ball when it's mattered. Neither ruckman gets a hand on it. Fortuitously, Mzungu dished it off, and De Boer gets to the run of Subin, who stretches out, drives it long. Critical ball here. Ugle did well. Jackson under pressure. Got boots a ball. Not the 15. Cocky arches the back. And he kicks, hoping for a teammate. Stevenson beaten to it by Hughes. He'll get it back though. The line's under pressure. Kitchen worked off it. Cocky stands in the tackle. Brilliantly done. Stevenson has to run on a collision course with Mzungu. Slap clear. It is high-intensity football inside the centre square. Hoskins dives on it, drags it back in, wins it. And Cocky, who's been important in the last minute or two. Silvani, a push in the back by Ryan. That was clear to everyone in the ground.
He did well there, Silvani. Got to the front position.
Picked the wing. Delahunty stands his ground. Subiaco with a bit of momentum. Poor ball, searching for Robinson. Collins on the up. De Boer off the outside of his boot. There's Delahunty again. Such an agile big man. This first quarter will leave most of the players gasping at the break. Lobs it to the 50. Terrific mark. Waters was caught behind. And here he is again. He's like a brick wall, Silvani. Blakely drives it to Bell. Still 2 kicks out. Over the top is Ballard. Poor kick. Touched by Peel. Jackson worked his way through a couple of Peel bodies. Delahunty still under pressure. Jackson, a hurried kick, and it's going to be turned over. Although the mark was dropped by Hughes. Spilt, Cocky, won it back. Stands and loops the hand pass, hoping for more. Over the top went Ballard. Now Tucker. In turn to Pearce, a scrambled kick to the 50. This is a wonderful first quarter. Low scoring, but it's so tough. Ballard knocks it on cleverly. Blakely, oh, he was almost cleaned up by Broughton. And it's going to be last man standing in this one. Off the outside of the boot, does it stay in play? No.
What a great game. What an absolutely gripping contest.
I think a few of these players were watching the game yesterday. They're just throwing themselves in at will. So many times Peel look like they're going to get possession, but Subia just jumping on the footy and having an impact.
It's really tough and tight on the inside at the moment. Where Peel are looking quite dangerous is their ability to be able to win the football back across half-back. And then on transition, they've been able to move the ball really quickly. So that's Subiaco going to have to be really mindful of that.
Ordinarily, through 18 minutes, 1 goal doesn't represent value for money, but those watching on 7 Sport and at the ground are getting a wonderful contest. Lawler. That ball floating over and out. Well, it's an arm wrestle. It's a fascinating first 20 minutes of football in this decider. Kyle Horsley. Almost to the wing. At the spill. About 4 sets of hands. Then Clark topo it. Cocky. Hand pass to Wheeler. Shut down. Phelan did really well. A topo. Pearce. Quick release. It was sound. Langdon. Another floater. Mzungu attacked it on his chest. Off the left. What a superb solo effort. And it's gone all the way, has it? I think it has. Tendai Mzungu. Remarkable.
Tendai Mzungu, this is wonderful courage. Eyes only for the football, and then on the left foot from 50, just hit it so well. Terrific start. Goes down in history as the first person to ever kick a goal for the Fremantle Dockers in a grand final. Now he does it for the Peel Thunder Football Club.
Doing your homework, Andrew. I like it. The Thunder by 4. The board. Poor bounce. Cocky. Strong in the tackle over Blakely. Delahunty wins it. Dispossessed. Blakely again. Just winning those little scrimmages at the moment, Peel. At the 50. Hand pass by Apnis. Taken by Robinson. Lockyer. A little fumbly. The pressure intensifying. O'Brien. Ugle, the captain. He's been very productive in this final series, kicking 6 goals in a couple of those games. But on that occasion, as we saw last week at Fremantle, would have liked that moment again. Ball kick back into play. It's going to be coming back. O'Brien didn't need to lay hand on it.
And this will be inside 50, number 12 for Peel, as opposed to 5, as Harley Ballock takes a mark for Peel inside 50, and that's an area of concern. We know that Subi are very good on the counter-attack, but that's a worrying stat so far.
Harley Ballock. It's a wonderful potential as a player. From right on the boundary. Up went Yaron. Was that realistic?
He's infringed there, Yaron. Umpire calling unrealistic. Attempt at the mark, so it'll be a free kick for Subi. And again, another poor kick by Harley Ballock on this occasion. Really wasteful in this first quarter, Peel.
It's unrealistic for most, but for Shane Yaron, it looked realistic to mine. He wasn't too far away from it.
That was worth the free kick from where we sat. Dominating territory here at the Thunder. And they'll go inside 50 again. Belcourt behind. Charging at it was Yaron. Subiaco under enormous pressure. Latham shut down. Out the back door, Leishman. Hurried kick, and they're not getting any clean ball. Langdon onto it again.
Just really setting up well, aren't they? The Subiaco clearing kick under pressure, and they thrust it forward again.
The top of the square. Bouncing ball to Bohr. Off the left. To the goal square. And this time, Lockyer is outpointed by Atmas.
Yeah, terrific contested mark there by Atmas. He started well. His hands have been good. But Peter, you called it well. They're getting repeat inside 50 entries at the moment, Peel, because they are setting well up behind the football. And they're getting some good looks at it.
Atmas. Consecutive goals for Peel.
Peter, good start from Peel Thunder. Some of their big names getting involved, particularly around the middle of the contest. Just getting it forward, that's all you need to do in finals like intensity. Got it forward, and Atmas, good for his confidence to go back and kick that goal after missing one earlier.
And controlling the footy, as evidenced by that stat that flicked up on the screen, Peel with the last 7 marks of this game, and together with inside 50s 14-5, although Subi looked threatening right here.
Horsley goes off the deck. Wheeler from 65 out. Gee, get some distance on it.
Massive kick. The breeze is favouring that end. That's something I don't think we've spoken about so far this afternoon. So Subi, as evidenced by that kick by Wheeler, with the aid of a breeze.
Bootsma with a response. Clark, Delahunty, half the contest. Does it stay in the field of play? Yes, it does. So Wheeler, hurried ball, touched off the boot. Works out okay, though, because Waller in the right spot. Drives it to half forward, at the back. It opens up big time for Yaron. Has Ugle in support. He doesn't need him. And Shane Yaron, wearing different colours, puts it into the third tier. Almost.
Well, that was all a little bit too easy, and that's why Jared Schofield looks frustrated up there in the coach's box. The kick from Langdon off half-back, who started well with 7 disposals, then a big contest, Apnes and Yaron, and once the ball jarred loose and Yaron was free, well, no one was going to catch him.
Suddenly it's out to 17 points. 8 scoring shots to 1. Winning so many of these skirmishes. Well, Ballock is a throw. Not rewarded. Doesn't matter. Subiaco have still won it through Horsley. Inside 50. Strong over it was Collins, who made the spoil. Boots were dispossessed. Subin spun out of trouble and then breaks free. It's that ability to clear the contest with body strength, and Tucker emerges at the 50. A wave of Peel Thunder through the middle. DeLuca has Ugle, but numbers out wide, and that's where they spread to. O'Brien and Langdon getting some space now, the Thunder. From the point of the square, Atlas the danger here. At the spill, Ballock will go off the deck. Oh, he went into the back potentially of a Lion. Bell is held up.
Great intensity there by the Subiaco player, just haven't picked it up, but looked like it was going to be an opportunity to run in, put the soccer through for Peel's 4th goal, but just dived on it. Terrific play there.
Dangerous area though for the Lions. Delahunty hoping for the boundary, and with Pearce's assistance, it's there.
This transition football for Peel at the moment is really hurting Subiaco. When they win the football, they're going so quick, and unfortunately at the moment for Subiaco, they cannot slow the ball movement down at Peel whatsoever.
Clark Lawler. Horsley's kick off the hands of De Boer.
Some of the major ball winners: Blakely 9, Langdon, who I mentioned before 8, Tucker 8, De Boer and Ugle, and Mzungu was 7. And for the Lions, Horsley 9, Cocky 7, Delahunty 7, and Broughton 6.
Blakely, third man up on this occasion. Cocky, good release handball. Hoskins. Charging through was Shepherd. Good ball by Ryan. Ditto Toomey. Marnie's ball was brilliantly run down by Nyhouse, who goes again. And he's gone. Well, no whistle. And Subiaco players rightfully turn to the umpire, suggesting they should have won a free kick outside the 50.
DeLuca doing a really good job on Lee Kitchen at the moment. Kitchen, the only 3 touches so far. Wouldn't mind seeing him go to Blakely, maybe a stop, just see if they can make it a 2-on-1.
Blakely off to Langdon. Ugle's over the top. There's space everywhere to operate. Yaron's on the move, and Yaron takes the mark. And they're starting to slice Subiaco up here.
Well, both teams went third man up at that stoppage, but it was far more attacking for Peel. They had no balance on the defensive side of the contest, Subi, and Peel just cut them to pieces. Langdon's a problem at this stage. His metres gained would be extraordinary in 1 quarter of football.
Media ban this week on Shane Yaron, but he's showing on the big stage what he can do. And he salutes again.
Knows how to perform in the big games to Shane Yaron, but again the transference from Peel so good. Connor Blakely involved, he's had an excellent start to this game, and Ugle's also getting involved, the captain. Just a really smart kick inside 50, had to wait for the space to open up, and a nice finish to Yaron.
Already dangerous moments for Subiaco. A clearance once more, DeLuca. Broughton couldn't control it. Got over the shoulder on Griffin. No whistle came. Bell. And now Blakely. Just managing to free the arms here. On his preferred left, Subin accelerates into the pocket. No mark taken by Yaron. Half volley. O'Brien's hand pass intercepted by Broughton, but it's a scrambled, hurried kick. And they're about to pounce again. A high tackle.
That, isn't he? He knows how to draw a high contact free kick. Rory O'Brien, one of the best in the business.
Well on top here, Peel. Just knows when to drop the shoulder. The speed at which his opponent was coming at him was always going to cause problems. We're all over him at the moment, Peel.
Rory O'Brien, 1 or 2 players for Peel Thunder this year to have played every single game. It was important last week against South Fremantle with 25 touches and a couple of goals.
And in game number 223, a premiership with Peel is within reach. It's a poor effort, and it could really have been the best part of 7 goals to 1.
If they had it converted well, there would be a fair argument to say that the game would almost be over. 10 scoring shots to 1. But with only 4 goals on the board.
Having said that, Subiaco have absolutely thrown everything at Peel so far, but haven't really landed too many punches. De Boer, lightning fast there. Horsley, content in the end to find the boundary.
Just a carry on that kick in then. That went all of 60 metres, so a fair breeze that Subiaco are kicking with in this first quarter.
They lead by 24 points, Peel Thunder. On the wing, Clark and Wheeler. Cocky, received from Hoskins. There's nobody for Subiaco representation-wise, more than Waters put out of position. Hughes heads back to Collins.
Peel setting up really well around stoppages at the moment, so when Subiaco do win the clearance, they're under pressure. We saw that with Cocky then, just a quick kick on the boot, and because Peel are setting up well behind the football, they're able to win the ball back.
It's an awful kick by Collins under no pressure at all. It's a little bit fluky, the breeze down there, but that was just a little bit casual, I thought.
Can the Lions pinch a goal before quarter time? Into the pocket, Shepherd was there, but Silvani with a fair fist into it.
He's been rock solid, hasn't he, Alex Silvani? Paul, you mentioned his form in the latter half of the year for Fremantle was very good. He's been very reliable so far in this grand final.
They're too good for this level. His future yet to be determined, but surely Fremantle want to keep a hold of him because he can do the job on the big players.
Clark stands in the tackle. Hard-won football here. Lockyer manages to scramble the ball, but it's come, the siren that is, at the right time. The Thunder haven't quite blown Subiaco out of the water, but the signs aren't great for the Lions. Peel searching for their first ever flag. 4-6 to Subiaco, 1 goal straight. It's a huge weekend and week of footy on 7 Sport. It begins tomorrow night in Melbourne with the counting of the Brownlow medal. Quarter time in the WAFL Grand Final for Maccas. And Subiaco with the first of the afternoon off the boot of Brad Stevenson. But the Thunder got rolling and Tendai Mzungu the catalyst. They had their chances to put Subiaco away, but they missed many of those opportunities. 10 scoring shots to 1. The margin is 24 points. Peel in control at the first break.
After a gripping first 10 minutes, Peel asserted their control through Blakely with 11, Langdon 9, Ugle with 8, and the list goes on. They're controlling contested footy. They're controlling inside 50s 19 to 8, and they're controlling the footy as well. Disposals 108 to 82. And I think that Peel will have the benefit of the breeze in this second quarter. It's going to be very interesting to see what Jared Schofield does to adapt.
Oh, to be a fly on the wall, so to speak. Sounds of the game. We head to the Subiaco huddle.
There's no problems with the effort, but be busy. Keep grabbing for that arm because they're holding in our attack and then they're feeding out and then we can't catch up to them again. Right now, so we've got to trust. Stay in the tackle, keep your feet, make sure you stay busy. When they feed it off, the next one's got to be coming to hit.
Sound advice, and as you mentioned, Peter, Andrew and Paul, the ability of Peel Thunder to break those tackles and get clear of the congestion has helped them dominate in field position, but also the scoreboard. Cam Shepherd works far from done, but Cassie Silver, I'm sure he's a pretty contented man, at least at quarter time. Cass.
Cam, I heard you say something about bees to a honeypot. Was that what everyone's after the ball?
Yeah, I just thought we were a bit too... Everyone wanted to get a piece of the action. We didn't hold our structure and we needed to.
Is complacency a bit of a concern now?
I would hope not. I hope they go even harder, Cassie, now.
And what are you expecting from Subi? That, you know, they can sustain a full game. Are they going to come?
Yeah, of course they are. The grand final, of course they're going to come. We just have to make sure we come harder.
Good luck. Thanks.
I think what was surprising in the first quarter was that Subiaco actually won the clearances 14-9, but Peel's pressure through the midfield I thought was really good. And all those clearances weren't quality clearances, and because Peel set up well behind the football, Silvani, Collins, Nick Subin, they were able to win the football back. And then as we saw on transition, their speed of ball was really good. Ed Langdon, as you mentioned, finding plenty of the football in the first quarter, and they moved the ball so quickly. Their forward line is open and looking really dangerous at the moment.
Only solid for Subiaco is that 4 goals, 6 on the board, leaves them in the contest. Second quarter is underway. Broughton met head on. And some tough hombres in there, including De Boer. Would expect nothing less.
Yeah, very courageous player, Greg Broughton, the only bloke to knock me out throughout my career, and that was in the boxing ring. Of course, a great career with Fremantle and Gold Coast.
Adam Cocky, last to emerge. Clark reaches over the top. Blakely still got the hand pass away. The ability of these Peel players to do just that. And De Boer, well, there's hand being thrown at the football and anywhere that's in the vicinity.
And that was what the Subiaco coaches were talking about, Peel's ability to withstand the pressure, get their arms free and dispose of the footy.
Free kick to Subiaco. Advantage has been played. A lot of the players had stopped. Kitchen sends it wide. Wheeler, the bounce, the pocket, left foot, needs to hit it, and he does! Just what the Lions required at the start of the second.
Well, I never like the advantage rule in a ruck contest because you never actually know whose free kick it's going to be. In the end, everyone stopped, and Subiaco, well, they made the most of it. They go inside forward 50. Perfect start, good awareness kick, and Clancy Wheeler finished off. So a really important goal to Subiaco because Peel have got all the momentum at the moment.
Important touch for Kitchen too, getting tagged in that first quarter. He's been identified as their best mid, so he needs to have a big second quarter.
Free kick appeared to be there against Clark. But the advantage rule on that occasion being questioned. In dispute. That ball's not coming out in a hurry as we head down to Steve Butler for an update from the boundary. Get back to Steve in just a moment. Cocky. A torpedo. Stevenson out of position, but hasn't this man played a game already? Alex Silvani back with the fly.
One of the most courageous players I ever played with. Just never takes his eye off the ball. Goes back and takes whatever's coming.
The ball at the 50. And now Langdon drives a long ball. Aptness, Jackson over the top. Have a work there by Broughton. Heel fortuitously back to Broughton. He's gone with an inside handball to Kitchen, who's wrapped up immediately. And as mentioned, the Subiaco midfield is being asked a few questions already.
Been really physical, DeLuca, on Kitchen, his opponent.
Clark and Delahunty close to the boundary line. De Boer. Hughes hooks it back, and Ballack has got away from his man. Building now. Yaron, well, there was a bit of separation there. Not quite to the extent of Brad and Angelina, but he managed just to find that 2 or 3 metres, and that's all you need at this level.
But the kick was brilliant from Darcy Tucker. Heel's a good matchup for Yaron. He's a pretty good athlete, Heel, but there's nothing a defender can do in that situation when the kick inside 50 is that good.
Yeah, the last 2 inside 50s to Yaron. He's had a lot of space to work with. Very difficult for the Subiaco players to cut that off.
Shane Yaron really getting across the ground, and he finds a response for the Thunder.
Hey Mum, can I have some chips?
When you think of the toxic fat caused by eating junk food regularly, isn't it time to find other choices?
How about a banana instead? Cool.
1 in 3 women experience LBL, but are now reclaiming the things they love. Poise pads, with improved Absorblock protection, are 80% more absorbent than leading daytime period pads. Start reclaiming today.
Shane Yaron, he could steal the show. Big start to this match. Just looks very dangerous every time the ball goes inside 50. Ominous signs here for Peel Thunder. Subiaco players just need to gather around this contest, start getting it going their way.
Back to 24 points in the middle. Kitchen. Lost possession. De Boer. Stolen from him. And there's Ryan. Rare touch in this opening half. Pokes it to full forward. Surely Shepherd was held? No. He's claiming it, but Silvani on the chest certainly has his measure on that occasion.
So good again, Neil Silvani. Just his ability to be able to stay really close with Shepherd. Great closing speed. And just eyes on the football. Another really good grab.
They head to Subin in the back pocket. Pearce was an option in the middle. That's ignored. Margin at 24 as it was at quarter time.
It's been brilliant, Alex Silvani. Just need a contest from Shepherd. He was good enough to win that crucial 50-50 ball and repel another Subiaco attack.
Spoke about at the start of the game, it may be time for him just to drag Silvani out of the play, take him to the goal square and keep him away because he's having a big influence.
There was some question marks over his fitness heading into the second semi. Hamish Shepherd with that knee heavily strapped, played in that game but didn't have a great impact, and today, well, fit or otherwise, Alex Silvani's more than a handful. Clark with first hand on it again. De Boer. Hoskins. Phelan was there. And these Lions midfielders continue to struggle for clean footy.
Shepherd, of course, playing country football the last few years down in Margaret River, and only got the call up this year with 2 weeks to go before the season started, so wouldn't be the fittest. It's his first full WAFL season for a long time, and then to come up against Silvani, not an easy ask.
Peel with 30 more disposals in the match so far. The Lions are pressing Bootsma. Pearce, Tucker, but Phelan steals. Shepherd's in the goal square. Was it touch? It doesn't matter. And that bounce was one for Peel.
A better forward line pressure there from Subiaco. That's going to be important. Forcing Peel into the turnover. It was slight, subtle, but it was enough to get the ball into Phelan's hands, who had that shot on goal.
Heading to the outer side. Clark from behind. Hoskins over it. Phelan. Brilliantly done by De Boer, but the hand pass was intercepted. Taken by Broughton into the pocket, wrestling there. Well, the umpire has basically said, go for your life to Silvani and Shepherd. Put the whistle away. It's out of bounds in any case. How do you adjudicate on that type of scenario?
Let it go.
Which they did. Ryan's kick missing the mark completely. Subin. Over the top went Jackson. Marnie left it behind. Langdon was terrific. The kick, though, was a touch claims by the Thunder players. It was. It will be a Subiaco ball.
We're getting some good field position at the moment, Subiaco, setting up well behind the football, and that's what's allowing them to have a good 4 or 5 minutes in this second quarter, getting some good repeat inside 50 entries, but they need to find a mark inside forward 50. Haven't taken one yet.
And don't look like it at the moment with so many numbers back, including Clark, who gathers. He will come back. Delahunty on his chest through the middle. They've got numbers, but 2 or 3 fumbles. They got 4 fumbles by Broughton. Oh, that's comical if you're a Peel supporter, but for Subiaco, absolute disaster. How did that get past them? And it could be really costly because Blakely spots Tucker at the point of the square. Lays it up in the De Boer direction. Did enough to halve the contest with Lockyer. Toomey, cleverly, back to Lockyer. But there's De Boer again. Just missed out on the Sandover medal. But he wants another medal this afternoon. One that I'm sure he'll hold just a little more highly in the cupboard if he can finish the job with Peel today.
Probably not Greg Broughton's finest moment. That one just couldn't get a handle on it.
De Boer again charges. Clark received it from Tucker. Aptness. He too fumbles. Lawler. Got out to Ugle. And now Griffin. Can't control it. Lockyer's with him. O'Brien's in the vicinity. And Bryan with some dash. Needs support. Hoskins provides that. Next kick is crucial. Oh, he's left it behind. Can you believe it? Bell. How did he dispose of it? The umpires have put the whistle away again. Tucker gets a terrible bounce. And Wheeler. Kick was smothered. Peel's pressure's enormous, but it might pay dividends in just a moment. Backtracking. It comes to Pearce. And now Hughes can make some sense of it all. Gets around the man on the mark. Kicking to the pocket. And Lockyer, well, has to be careful here, close to the boundary line. And eventually over.
Well, they're just making some uncharacteristic blues at the moment, Subiaco. We saw Delahunty and Broughton at half-forward flank, just neither of them being able to be clean with the football. And that particular time was Bryan running out of the fence and the ball just didn't come back to him.
Pressure of Peel shouldn't be underestimated. Bell, well, again, disposal, and the umpire has blown the whistle this time. They have been rather generous with the players this afternoon, but Blair Bell is standing the mark now as Subin read that superbly, cut across on the angle. First question on the Kennards Hire footy trivia. It's grand final time, so we'd like to hit the ground running. Which 2 clubs did Peel coach Cam Shepherd play for? Well, we've got that answer, I think, covered already, but we'll give you at home a chance to assess. And DeLuca was worked off the footy. A scramble on the wing. Still pressing. Lawler. De Boer was part of that. Now Langdon, they will not catch him. It's a terrific, dangerous ball. Just past Aptness, though, and a boundary throw-in.
Been good to see the emergence of Ed Langdon this year. Great re-signing with the Fremantle Dockers throughout the week. Was talk that he might go back and join his brother at Collingwood, but just has elite leg speed on the outside. One of those players that can run and carry and use it well.
Griffin at the front. Hitchin wins the footy. Lawler's over it. Possession's oh so difficult. Cocky, Topo was clever. Marnie, he's claimed. Ends up with Langdon. Griffin off a step around his body. Getting back with the flight. Lockyer had Atlas for company.
Been a better start to the second quarter for Subiaco. They've been able to win the inside 50s. They're well on top of clearances as well in this particular game. They just got to make the most of those clearances. They need to find targets across half forward and inside 50, which has been letting them down so far.
DeLuca. There's Kitchen. And Brian, this time, takes the ball with him. Liam Ryan's got a huge task here, surrounded by field defenders. Nyhouse spots Clark near the boundary line, kept it alive. Hand pass inboard, intended for Mzungu. Subiaco's pressure pretty good. Hoskins, Kitchen's hand pass was speculative at best. And Bootsma wins it back. Thunder advance again, dangerous spot. Poor ball for Atlas. And it will be a ball up 30 out. And you have to feel for Subiaco's defenders here. They're seeing plenty of it.
Yeah, they're under the pump, but they're not far behind. They've been outclassed in many areas, but they're hanging in, and that's what Subiaco do. You feel at some point they'll get it going their way.
Clark's been terrific. Opportunity, or Lawler just lost the handle at the critical moment, then puts on terrific pressure. Real feel of the Fremantle pressure that we saw in the AFL when they were up and about last year with the way these Peel players are going about it. Just suffocating the opposition. Ballock, O'Brien.
So strong over the footy and numbers around the footy. Subiaco need to win some clear possession and not allow Peel to thrust it back forward.
O'Brien taken down. DeLuca almost to the goal square. Ugle beat his man outside the boot. He's made them look like fools.
Yeah, the captain Ugle's been very good. They just kept the ball alive here, Peel, and Lockyer, a bit of a slip there. He's trying to get it through, but Ugle just got hands on the footy, and that situation probably wanted it more and gets a goal.
They've had a bit of rain overnight in Perth. Not sure that's a valid excuse, but a couple of slips and slides this afternoon. Subiaco have had 2 or 3 moments in this quarter. Phelan under pressure. All of this for the Lions ordinarily would work out in their favour. Cocky, some experience there, but didn't have enough on it to reach Phelan. Ballock spun out of trouble. Blakely's there in support. Growing in confidence now, the Thunder. Bell just works Leachman off it. And Adam Cocky just trying to impose himself. Garrett Schofield. Barking instructions down the line. Griffin comes to Phelan. High ball, Collins comes from the angle, and he wanted to put his name on that one.
Did well there, Collins, prepared to leave his man.
There's the answer, Perth and Claremont. Cam Shepherd. Bit of a stalemate at the moment. Kitchen, brilliantly tackled by DeLuca. Blakely dragged it back in, but then got it out. Griffin, Mzungu, and it's these scrimmages, the AFL type experience that's really coming to the fore. Tucker and Greg Broughton on the slide. Pokes it inboard. Horsley. Switch is made and they can really advance here.
It's a good switch.
Peel off to Robinson. Building through Leishman and more. So a few times today we've seen Subiaco able to operate in space. Shepherd at the back, not required. Toomey off a step and probably had more time than he realised.
And Subi player down.
Not Shepherd.
He's looking a little bit ginger at the moment. He's up on his feet.
Just looked like he got pushed in that marking contest. No free kick.
Umpires have been consistent on that front today. Subin, kick gets past Bell. He was lunging at it. and Bell. Product from South Mandurah. Ballock and Ugle do pretty well against the odds. And just as Tendai Mzungu was released, the umpire blew the whistle very fortuitously for the Lions. We'll get Steve and Cassie to check on the welfare of Adam Cockey, who's on the bench for the time being. Subiaco can break. Horsley's kick, intention was right, but couldn't quite hit Toomey. Nyhouse, Hughes, close to the line. Hoskins was there. O'Brien to Pearce, and they just cannot find a way through at the moment, Subiaco.
It's got issues going inside 50, haven't they? Had the ball running the right way, but it wasn't the right option to choose from, which meant they had to go back into trouble and just missed the mark there.
Steve Butler, boundary side.
Yeah, Adam Cockey came off stretching his hand. They checked his wrist to see if it was okay. I think he's okay. He's not getting too much more treatment, but they can ill afford to lose him. Jared Schofield thought he was their best player in the first quarter.
He was terrific, you're right. Griffin, the party trick. Wheeler couldn't take it. And the pressure by Peel, we've said it time and time again, but it's unsettling Subiaco, there's no question. DeLuca coughed it up. Wheeler, it's all hurried footy. No clean ball for the Lions forwards to use. Ryan somehow won it. Off to Stevenson, a hit and hope, knocked forward. Ryan gets it back, surely. The young man on debut in 2016. Wonderful finish.
What an excitement machine he is. First, the first effort to just get the ball, handballed over his head, kept on going, and the pickup was sublime. Finished with all class. You have to think he's going to go early this year in the draft, Andrew Embley.
Yeah, I agree with you, Hayes. He's been such an exciting player all year. We know he can jump and take a great grab, but just so clean below his knees, and that was pure class. And at 20 years of age, he's only going to get better and better.
One of the moments of the grand final of 2016, but Subiaco under siege already in this next passage of play. Jackson played it well. That kick by Heel, I'm not sure he can do anything but penalise him. Well, that's extraordinary decision. How can you not penalise that? And Ed Langdon is politely asking the question.
At the AFL, definitely that would have been deliberate, but in the WAFL this year, they haven't been paying it like they pay it in the AFL, so...
Andrew, there was no one within the definition of intentional. We'll try and make a case, but I think the prosecution rests its case. That's one that got past the men in green. 22 points, though. It feels like
one more for Subi, and it's a really manageable margin. 22 is not massive.
It feels like an 8 to 10 goal game, but the scoreboard says differently. Missed opportunities for Peel, and another one before half-time would really give some oxygen to Subiaco.
Well, the win in the quarter, Subiaco, and that's important. They've certainly been able to really slow Peel's ball movement down a lot better in this particular quarter, and they've been able to make the most of a couple of their inside 50 entries.
Wonderful work by Horsley, but a miscued footy ends up in a turnover. But Subiaco have just got the appetite back. You get the feeling with the way they're gaining field position. And how anyone can win that footy is beyond me.
Just tackling better, aren't they, at the moment, Subiaco? Getting that extra arm in, not enabling the Peel Thunders to release.
Blakely opposed to Horsley. Ball just works its way out the back door to Luca. The toe poke. Great tackle by Bryan. There was no prior.
That was well played by both players. First of all, Ballock for a clean gather, and Bryan with a vigorous tackle, stayed engaged in the contest.
Approaching half-time. Tucker. Little hand pass by Ballock, missed the mark. Wow, some bodies thrown in there. And the skirmish has been won by Subiaco. Toomey, Delahunty. There's no one to kick too long. He's turned it straight over to Pearce. His hand pass was poor. Important ball. Well, Toomey missed his man, not once but twice. Hand pass by Subin was ill-directed. Ends up back with Toomey. And he kicks off the outside of his boot. It's all improvisation for Subiaco at that part of the ground. Bryan cleverly got rid of Blakely. Some nice little moments in this quarter to Bryan at the 50, at the back. And Ballack walks it over, but there's just a feel of momentum change ever so slightly.
And how good will Kyle Horsley's attack on the football before on the wing? He just put his head over it, won a really important contested possession for his team. They can feel something at the moment, Subiaco.
Need to take their chances when they come. Just outside the 50. Horsley, spearing ball. Bouncing its way all the way home. Was it touch? We'll wait for confirmation. Oh, Subiaco are up and about now.
Kyle Horsley takes a well-earned rest along with Wade Toomey there, but Horsley, he has been brilliant. 16 disposals now, 5 clearances. He's kicked a really important goal. He is single-handedly keeping Subiaco in this contest.
Back to 16 points. It was 24 at quarter time. Peel threatened to take a stranglehold in the contest in this term, but then is definitely game on. De Boer continues to rack them up. He's dispossessed. And let me pose this question. Subiaco's lack of football may have been an impediment in the opening half, but will they be fresher given Peel's 3 weeks of consecutive footy?
Yeah, it's the big unknown, isn't it? But right now, Jared Schofield will be thrilled with the way this second quarter has progressed. They're just not allowing Peel to get that ball on the outside. They've tackled brilliantly, as Paul Hazelby suggested, and they've taken their opportunities when they've presented.
Just need better understanding at the moment between the Peel ruckman and the midfielders. Hit-outs 26-6 and clearances 12-9 in favour of Subiaco. So they're not making the most of the dominance that Zach Clark and John O'Griffin are giving Peel at the moment.
Love the work of Adam Cockey. Like a bull in those contested areas. Inside 50, Bootsman couldn't and didn't take the mark. Decided to spoil. Waters lays it off. De Boer, another terrific tackle this time on Marnie, and he's won it back. He is doing it all today, Matt De Boer.
Yeah, couldn't sell the dummy there. De Boer too smart, just eyeballed his body and was able to make a very effective tackle.
To the wing, Apnes on the stretch. Subi have won it back. Broughton back to a dangerous position. Moore brilliantly smothered and run down. Stevenson back to Waters. Ball sits on its end. And a lovely little sidestep to the wing, a foot race. And Heel just subtly enough, and now he's played that. So we are witnessing a couple of, well, that probably was to the rules the right decision, but after what we saw about 5 minutes ago, a little amusing.
A few players really stepping up for Subiaco in this particular quarter. Kitchen, quiet first quarter. He's up to 8 touches in this quarter, 11 for the game. Horsley 7, Broughton 6.
Crowd getting involved as well. Lions supporters really happy with what their team has produced.
Just a fascinating decider for this premiership of 2016. But Peel, the goal here, puts them back to where it all was at quarter time. Horsley, wonderful. Cockey about to be shut down, but through the hips he was strong. Delahunty to Whelan. They'll need a bounce. They got one there. Brilliantly worked though by Hughes. Somehow found a way. O'Brien on the logo. It's Blakely. To the advantage of De Boer. Muzungu, some experienced heads getting involved. Centering ball. Yaron, how did he find that space?
Well, it was
brilliant
a great kick and about a triple lead, and well done to Ethan Hughes at half-back. That was brilliant play.
Yeah, he's classy, isn't he? Ethan Hughes just read it, found his way out of the congestion, got the ball moving, and Tendai Muzungu could have gone the easy hit-up lead to Apnes, who was coming towards him, but Shane Yaron, he's demanding the footy. Why not kick it to him?
Starting last year's grand final at Shane Yaron. He's just pulled that a little, but done enough. And that stings Subiaco nearing half-time.
I first started playing footy when I was 6 years of age. First memory of football, fighting over a ball with my brother, with Dad out the front trying to break us up. We kicked the football down with our mates at Robin Park, and then we'd ride our BMX down on the way home to Seacrest Deli to annoy the owners. Couldn't have been too bad though, because I got to know them pretty well and ended up selling one of their properties. I grew up here in Sorrento and now I work here and love it.
Snuck it home, Shane Yarran, and he's been a reliable conduit to goal for Peel with his fourth in the first half.
Terrific opening half by Peel. They have been unrelenting. Subiaco continue to press. Delahunty off to Horsley, Cocky, and now Broughton. A hurried left footer. Going to ground was Silvani. Back to Horsley. Over the top, Ryan can use a man inside, or he can go the outside of the boot, and there are a couple of other options that spring to mind. Was pressed in the pocket.
Horsley's been massive in this second quarter.
Huge.
He's been the one who's dragged Subiaco back into this game.
Back to 21 points. De Boer over the top. Ballick's hand pass was knocked down. Comes to Hoskins. Speaking of Horsley, here he is again. But this Peel defence has been impenetrable. At the spill, Toomey on the boot, on the right! And that brings the Subiaco faithful to their feet. It is a counter-punch situation here. The Lions will not go away.
They're looking dangerous when they can get the ball inside their forward 50. Again, Horsley, we've spoken about his game so far. Get a really good contest. That's important. And Wayne Toomey at the back of the contest kicked a really important goal.
I think it was young Hughes there. We sung his praises before. He was Toomey's opponent and he leapt into the contest courageously, but if you can't influence a contest, you leave yourself vulnerable when your opponent stays on the ground. And Wade Toomey, we know he has demonstrated many times through a long WAFL career and in state games, he could sniff out a goal with the best of them.
It's a grand final deserving of what we're witnessing this afternoon. Peel Thunder making all the play, but the defending champs continue to press. Poor bounce, and that one will come back. You wonder what Cam Shepherd thinks of a 15-point lead if that remains at half-time, because on the body of work we've seen, the Thunder should be at least 4 or 5 goals up. Delahunty, brilliantly run down was Kitchen. Was there a disposal in there? Not too sure. And Silvani is absolutely Shepherd's master at this point. Across the face of goals, and Hughes takes the mark.
It's going to be a great challenge in the second half for Hamish Shepherd. We know how good Silvani is. He's a proven AFL defender, but they just need a contest inside their forward 50, Subi.
Late score would be critical here. Yarran dropped the mark. He's got a man out wide but couldn't get to the contest. Subiaco through Jackson. Hand pass knocked away by Broughton. Peel is there. Seconds ticking down. It'll be Ugle if he can gather and give. Was he taken high? No whistle. Broughton's hand pass, it was speculation at best. Charging through, Lockyer won it. Handball to Luca, the former Lion. Sweeps it back to Mzungu. Watch out, Waters is after him. Inside 50, Clark sandwich. Hoskins goes to ground. Horsley played it brilliantly. What a quarter he's having. And the captain barrels one. Nyhouse is in the way, but they might have just evaded the danger for the time being.
Horsley outstanding. First to come back with a fly of the football, just get a spoil in front of Zach Clark, and then just win the football, just get it out of there.
Ballick, in the dying moments of this first half, a fist and a timely one came from Lockyer.
The big players for Peel not having a big impact at the moment. Clark, Griffin, Aptness, all relatively quiet in this quarter. So Subiaco getting the ball to ground and now starting to assert themselves around the contest.
Almost up to 33 minutes on the clock. Lawler, Griffin, it's up, it's under. Lockyer getting back. Oh, that's a nice one-hander. And surely now the Lions can hold.
Just going to be patient here. Long kick down the line, get a contest.
Couldn't get the job done, but the result probably not one that won't be welcomed by Jared Schofield. They can set up, and we're up to 33.5 minutes now. Margin has been trimmed from 24 to 15. Griffin, De Boer, and Horsley once more. What a first half we've had. It has had everything a low-scoring affair, a bit of feeling between the two clubs as well. And it's exactly what we'd expect in a grand final.
Yeah, a bit of niggle here at half-time. The players would be best served to separate themselves, but what a quarter by Kyle Horsley. Up to 23 disposals, 6 clearances, 10 contested possessions, as the umpires try and separate the two clubs. And it's a hot day, so the big question is, those 3 finals that Peel have played in the last month or so, what impact will that have compared to Subiaco? 2 games in 36 days.
Well, the players just separated by the men in green, and Steve Butler has found himself amongst all of that, but he has one of the superstars of the Thunder alongside him at half-time.
Well, Matt, it was a pretty heavy quarter, that one. They were able to get back at you, even though you were spreading them well in that first quarter.
Yeah, we knew they'd come. They're a quality team. We'll reset the scores now. We're up for the challenge. We love it.
It's a pretty hot grand final in the clinches, isn't it?
That's what you expect. Pressure goes up. Do the basics well. We'll be out in the second half to do exactly that.
What would it mean to you boys to create a bit of history today?
Yeah, plenty. That's why we play football. The boys' attitude's been fantastic. We really want it. We'll be out in the second half to fucking deliver.
Good luck, mate.
Matt de Boer, the ball magnet for Peel Thunder, runner-up in the Sandover medal, and it is a 15-point lead to Peel, chasing their first ever WAFL premiership. Huge second half coming up, but also the sport never ends on 7. The NFL, American football, at its best. Yes, you'll see it all on 7 Sport. You won't miss a minute of the best action from around Australia and around the world. Back from half-time, it's a 15-point lead to Peel Thunder over Subiaco. A big day for the WAFL here, and of course so many big names managed to come to the ground for such a big day, including 4 huge names in WA football. Gary Sidebottom, formerly with Swan Districts. Billy Duckworth, famously back in 1984 for Essendon. Mel Brown, player coach in 72 with East Perth, coached, of course, South Fremantle to a flag in 1980 against this man, John Todd, Ian Taylor, and so many dignitaries in the house today as they build towards the 2016 grand final. A few suspensions between that quartet as well, it has to be mentioned, but some great memories, and they do add some colour and some characters to this Macca's match day. Half time, 15 points to lead, and Paul, Andrew and Peter, there's a feeling that if Subiaco can hit back with a couple of goals, eat into this lead, the last quarter, the freshness of this squad becomes a tantalising prospect.
Well, we've got a contest, no doubt about that. We saw in the second quarter Subiaco really start to get on top through the midfield, and if they can start to convert some of their clearance dominance that they're getting at the moment into inside 50 entries and start to get a target in there. We know Shepherd's been very quiet, only the 2 touches in the first half. Then suddenly they give themselves a real big opportunity in the second half. And then a little bit more from Marnie. Waters has been really quiet. Toomey really quiet as well. Only the 5 touches in the first half, but important goal just before half time. So they need a few other players to really step up. Phelan also being quiet to give a chop out to guys like Horsley and Cocky in particular, who have been very good for Subi in the first half.
One of the interesting parts of the game is Peel have won the hitouts 43-15, yet trail in the clearances 19-31. So that's an area where Subi have got the ascendancy, and it's so important because if Subi can negate Peel getting the ball out into the open, then they'd manage to bludgeon the ball forward themselves and get scoring opportunities. Peel have looked at their most dangerous in the open play.
It doesn't always translate to clearances and goals, does it? So I think Subiaco have done a good job in that ruck battle. But for mine, it's Hamish Shepherd. He just has to have a good second half, well beaten against Alex Silvani. He doesn't have to take marks, kick goals, but just bring the ball to ground, lock the ball inside their forward 50. Particularly in the first quarter, the Peel players were able to run it off the half-back line. Nick Subin, Ed Langdon getting involved. So if they can win this game, it has to start in their forward line, lock it in.
Andrew Embley, do you continue the Josh DeLuca, Lee Kitchen tag, or do you switch at half-time and get across to Kyle Horsley?
It'll be interesting to see what happens in the second half, because no doubt, for mine at the moment, Subiaco's Kyle Horsley is the most dangerous player on the ground. He was outstanding, in particular in that second quarter. DeLuca going really tight at the moment with Kitchen, but we saw in the second quarter Kitchen really started to find a little bit of the football, so they're just going to have to get their matchups right, but I'm pretty sure Peel will really back their structures and their setups in this second half.
The Thunder by 15, third quarter coming your way. Beautiful afternoon, Sunday, long weekend here in the West. Cocky and De Boer resume hostilities.
Well, that's tackle number 11 for Matthew De Boer, just over a half a footy.
Adam Cocky really feeling it out in the middle at the moment. Marnie, DeLuca over the top of him. Horsley, can he continue where he left the second quarter? Robinson, courage required here. And wow, there's some big bodies thrown into that mix. Mark was taken out to the ball. Received it from Hughes. And Bell came across, and with a vice-like grip.
He's done it a couple of times, Ethan Hughes. Just great courage going back. He set up a goal in the second term for Peel Thunder. He did it again. Great transference out to Matt De Boer and Bell. Isn't he having a good season? Really talented player. Just needs to go back now and finish off.
Some concerns over Nick Subin. He took, I reckon, a boot to the head at the last centre clearance, and the doctor ran out to just assess how he was, and he waved him away, but not moving the best right now, Nick Subin.
23 goals this season for Blair Bell. 45-degree angle, and he's pushed it left.
In the first quarter, they kicked horribly, peeled to this end of the ground. I think their first 4 shots at goal, all missed. Need to nail their chances.
Ball back in, Clark destroys it. Delahunty follows up.
The matchup through the middle of the ground in the first half was Kyle Horsley on Connor Blakely. So whilst Horsley has been finding plenty of the football, up to 24 disposals now, Blakely been really important for Peel. He's had 20 in the first half.
Delahunty, at close quarters, Phelan gets past Shepherd and Silvani. Ryan, almost. Nyhouse got boots of ball, just. And there's a sliding effort. The mark has been taken. Terrific pressure, though, by Liam Ryan to help win this turnover. Subiaco, first opportunity to head to their 50. Phelan at the spill. Thunder will work it out. The hands of Langdon. Bugle dropped the mark. Phelan did well at close quarters. Bryan worked his way through congestion brilliantly. Cocky with time and space, but he hit Silvani instead. Those critical smothers will be a relay kick because Cocky was taken down by Silvani. And Silvani, should I say, wins the relay free kick. Terrible ball, and Jackson in the way. To come through the middle. Well,
dangerous.
He's dangerous,
Good kick,
but
though.
was good off the boot. There was some concern. Robinson, Delahunty, and Horsley straightens up, and he too has butchered the footy. Nyhouse on his chest. So both sides just a little shaky with ball in hand, and that is a floater straight into the arms of Broughton.
Not a great start to the third quarter.
There's some shocking kicks, errors from both sides.
Broughton just takes something off it. Shepherd in front. Doesn't even contest for that in the end. Muzungu stood in the tackle brilliantly. And the kick was good enough. Trapped by Aptness. Back to Blakely. Subiaco had their chance, and now it's Yaron. A tough ball to control.
That's a good result for Peel, considering the kick forward. Maybe the breeze is a bit stronger than what we expect up here, because the ball's certainly floating around.
We might want to go down to Cassie Silver soon just to get a feel for conditions at ground level, because you're right, it does look quite swirly from up here.
Little fluky. Brilliantly done by Clark, and Blakely was taken over the shoulder. And the advantage has been paid. O'Brien off to Tucker. Yaron in the vicinity, and that took a left to right bounce.
Seen that twice today, the paying of the advantage rule, and both teams stopped again there. Just got to play it out, lay the tackle, and make sure they don't get an advantage.
First 2 scoring shots in this quarter are Peels, but they haven't been able to hit the scoreboard as they would like. O'Brien under pressure.
Adam Cocky there getting some running repairs, already heavily strapped coming into the match. Looks like maybe a bit of a corky there. Some extra strapping.
Margin at 17. Horsley escapes. Had support in Kitchen, who was held, and then he's dumped. To be fair, the umpire probably was blindsided, but son a factor in that part of the ground.
Horsley was unlucky there. The tackle from De Boer lingered. And we have a look at marks inside 50. Subi without a mark inside 50. So it gets back to Paul Hazelby's point that they just need a contest from their key forwards.
Clark digs it out. Blakely on the advance. That's a dangerous ball. Yaron's in the vicinity. Couldn't take it at the spill. He does it again, though, and hits Blair Bell on the chest. Open runner in the goal square is Ugle. A goal to Ugle. Yaron helped set it up. Cassie Silva is boundary side.
Just giving you a little bit of a condition update. You couldn't really ask for much better conditions down here for a day of football. The wind is actually it's the opposite of what the flags are blowing. It's blowing across the ground. And in terms of attendance, it's around 14,000. So it's actually quite a good turnout. And this is the biggest crowd that Peel has played in front of.
Big numbers, thanks, Cassie. De Boer looking threatening here. Lawler, Mzungu, Ballot straightens up. Didn't have the time to kick accurately. Subiaco defence. And the pressure was sound.
It was exciting play. De Boer won the clearance out of the centre. And Ballack under pressure. Terrific play from Subiaco.
And kick brilliantly intercepted by Blakely. It's starting to open up for the Thunder in this third quarter. They're out by 24. Over the top of Clark and Mzungu. Wheeler. In fact, it was Delahunty. Ends up with Toomey. Needs support. Gets it from Bryan. Spreading wide. Waters. And Ryan was a half volley which he couldn't quite trap. Thunder move it slickly. Mzungu. Yaron from behind at the spill. Well, looking ominous there. Another smother. Heel. Another knockdown. Clark. His hand pass. Bobbles up. Ends up with Mzungu. Langdon. Around the body and just put too much on it.
Pressing, but wasteful again. Great pressure there from Peel. Locked it in, had another look. A couple of players at the top of the square gesticulating to Ed Langdon. Entitled to have a shot there, I reckon.
Winning the smother count too, I reckon, Peel Thunder. Just getting their arm in. Silvani did a brilliant one early in this quarter.
Pick back into play, finds Lockyer. And defensive 50. They haven't looked dangerous in this quarter. Subiaco just want to hold up the Thunder. And he just glides through the air. Liam Ryan doesn't hit it well. Fancy Pierce gets a fist in.
I think that's the first skill error I've ever seen from Liam Ryan. I've watched him 5 or 6 times this year, and that was a shank kick, but a beautiful mark as he ghosted in.
The running premiers can ill afford to concede another goal. Currently trailing by 25. Delahunty squeezes the ball in the Ryan direction. Beautiful give. Cocky. Not much to go. There's another smother. And that's a turnover. De Boer on the end of it. The bounce is critical. Ballack almost late. Them put the pressure on and maybe going to the voice of Marnie. The ball is given up. Robinson, watch out. About to be shut down. The Subiaco midfield have turned it over. Tucker. Langdon. A deep ball. Atnas. Was he held? No whistle. Ballack goes to ground. Thought it might have been high, but the Subiaco defender on that occasion ensuring Jackson that he went the waste.
The Peel's pressure has really lifted in this third quarter. They're forcing Subiaco into the turnover, and from that they're able to get the ball inside their forward 50 quickly.
Under enormous pressure, Horsley flicks it out. Toomey, all done under duress here. Shepherd have worked it clear to Cocky. Kicking to a contest at left half forward. Ryan is there. With him is Moore. And the latter goes to ground. That was costly onto the chest of Langdon. They have all the answers here. Peel Thunder.
20 disposals now for Ed Langdon. His run and carry's been really important so far in this game.
Across to Silvani. Resolute in defence today. Collins. And Mzungu's the next target. Brilliant effort by Broughton, I think it was, going back with the flight. Bounced off his man. And took the mark.
Great use of the body, wasn't it? Just knew where the ball was going to land. Used his backside to push Mzungu out.
Ball heads out the back door. Collins was taken high. Advantage will be paid. And Silvani has a couple, 3, including O'Brien. Griffin Jams it on the boot. More worrying times for the Subiaco defence. Latham taken by a couple of Thunder players, and those tackles are sticking.
Been some good players out there today, but Silvani, he is having an impact. I don't think Shepherd's hardly been cited. He's kicked 49 goals this year, but Silvani also having an impact going back the other way.
Almost at breaking point for the Lions in this third quarter. Another smother. Blakely outstanding over the football. Almost pushed to the back. That's a massive win for Peel.
It is. And you're right, Hayes. Paul Hayes to be the smother count, and it's been really pronounced in this third quarter.
Strangling Subiaco. Looking for that knockout blow. Blakely extracts it. O'Brien. Lions win it back. Waters down the line. And Pearce traps it. He's run down. Well, that's deliberate. No. Well, we saw...
It was very similar to the... wasn't Wheeler, but the instance in the first quarter.
Yep. So a little fortunate there was Clancy Pearce. Margin remains at 25. The front, and O'Brien does keep it in. Langdon, what can he produce? The hand pass missed Bootsma. Shepherd claimed immediately. Toomey, good ball inside. Leishman, if it sits, has a runner over the top. And now Robinson in space, can straighten up. Simply has to kick this, bending back, and he's done the job. Important goal for the Lions. Steve Butler has an injury update for us.
Yeah, it looks like Craig Hoskins from Subiaco, his day might be done. He's on the bench. He's been there for a little while now with his right hamstring heavily strapped. He was very animated while he's on the bench, threw his mouth guard into the dugout, and hasn't moved since.
So consternation for the Subiaco bench with only one soldier going down. Peel holding the Lions at arm's length. O'Brien, great chase by Kitchen. I'd love the next one to instill some more belief. Tucker did the 360. Going to ground and winning it back. Cocky looking for metres, and that in the end is a pretty good result for Subiaco.
If that is correct, and then it does become important, one less rotation for Subiaco. Hot day, second game in 36 days. If we have a look at the Kennards Hire footy trivia, who has coached Subiaco to 2 premierships?
We know one, but there's obviously more than that. We think perhaps 3 or 4. Inside 50, Silvani, little nudge. Ryan put the head down, and rightfully so, the umpire lets them play.
Yeah, ducked there, Liam Ryan, and don't think he was gathered high anyway.
Important moment here. Inside the 50, a bobbling ball. Peel avert the danger. Leishman, a spoil. Comes to Ryan. Good delivery, and Robinson might like his chances deep in the pocket. Has a man over the top. Pokes it to the pocket. A really tight angle here, but I guess 20 or 30 metres closer to home. Moore has it. The question is, has he got the repertoire?
Tough angle.
Tough breeze, kicking into the breeze as well.
Just the first 2 marks inside 50 for Subiaco. They've come in the third quarter.
Simon Moore.
Looks like he's going to run around and snap this.
30 out. Needs a bend on it. And there's a bit of wrestling on the line. Let's see which way this goes. It's going to be a Peel free kick. And Shepherd.
Silvani again just so strong in the contest. Shepherd giving away the free kick.
Bootsma in the back pocket. That's a wonderful leg, always makes metres. Off hands. Bugle won it. Across to Langdon. Stays in. Jackson. A lot of hang time with that ball. Wheeler, another smother potentially coming there. Onto the chest of Toomey. Some players through the middle can be used, including Phelan. Floats it over the top, not great for Horsley. Back to Phelan, has a man at the 50. Ignored that. Spoil came from Moore. Then he taps it clear. Stevenson back feeds the hand pass. Subi have control. Wheeler. Oh, Kitchen took them on somehow to Toomey. A high ball. Getting back. Mark was dropped. Waters goes to ground. Bootsma. This defensive Peel has been resolute. Great run down. Subiaco continue to press. Stevenson can't get a boot to ball. Waters is there as well. Moore. Broughton. Stevenson goes again. Amazing pressure inside the 50. Little kick has come off the side of the boot, and it is frenetic.
It's tough and tight, absolutely. And well done there by Subiaco. Firstly, to get a contest inside their forward 50, I thought Moore was really important to bring the ball down to ground, and then that forward line pressure to be able to lock the ball in and get this boundary throwing is important. We saw Liam Ryan there getting his knee checked out.
So the turnover comes. De Boer's kick has been intercepted. I have to say that Greg Broughton, not normally a player that is renowned for goal kicking,
yeah, he's
but
got the breeze right behind him as Horsley trying to get the handball, but Baller was onto it.
From 50, a real floater. Shepherd was there almost off the ground. It is like a rugby scrum in there on the line. Stevenson tried to off the goal. Ball. It come off hands, and perhaps kicking in danger would have been in use there, but it was Moore who was claiming it. But I think the replay will show
a goal
the
line
right
scramble.
decision.
This is incredible. Have a look at this. And Pearce just gets his hand on the footy, or did he?
Could argue.
The umpire was in a good spot to adjudicate, but
Clancy Pearce with the kick in duties. Subiaco really pressing out. Oh, mark dropped by Clark. Muzungu importantly. Now Jackson is the sweeper here, and he couldn't take the mark. Importantly, he went to ground. Langdon with a hip and shoulder on the way through. In fact, it was DeLuca.
Peel just got to be careful they don't lose their forward line structure at the moment at some of these defensive 50 stoppages, because at the moment they're winning a bit of the football and they're just blazing away, and Subiaco are setting well up behind the football to win the footy back at the moment.
Marnie, a scrambler, a 2-on-2. Silvani going back, didn't take the mark. Shepherd sweating on it. Hughes tackled, got the hand pass away. Subin, a smother comes from Delahunty. Stevenson scrambles one into the pocket. They win it back, comes to Horsley. Brilliantly tackled by Collins. Down goes Moore, out the back. Robinson, a snap around his body, hasn't got enough on it. They're pressing. It's hard-won football for Subiaco.
Just winning the 50-50 balls at the moment. Subi getting an extra number to each contest. It's been the hallmark of their football for a long period of time.
Margin 17. No one stands the mark. Pearce to himself. Edge in the Griffin direction. Over the top was Lockyer. And we still are no wiser as to the premiers for 2016.
Just wonder if Jared Schofield could put Shepherd onto the ball for a while, get Delahunty and Wheeler close to the goal. Just throw a different mix at Alex Silvani, try and catch him out somehow, because at the moment he's having a big impact, Silvani.
Griffin, first hands on it. Cocky, left it behind. Blakely, excellent. DeLuca around his body. Wheeler showing great courage, stands in the tackle. The release hand pass was terrific. Toomey, a sidestep, takes something off the kick. Silvani and Shepherd, brilliantly played by Silvani. Shepherd goes out of the contest far too easily, and Subin spots Muzungu in turn to Langdon. A dangerous ball, has to be marked, and is by DeLuca. Spreads it wide. And Langdon put some real air into that. Heel and Yaron. Well, Yaron did well enough. Ugle, 50 out to the goal square. De Boer going back with a flight almost. And Latham sensing the danger.
One thing Subiaco have done differently since quarter time is that their defenders are prepared to let the half forward from Peel get up the ground, because we saw in the first quarter in particular Peel being able to get that fast ball movement and get Subiaco out the back. But in this particular quarter especially, Subiaco are holding that ball back and Peel haven't been able to penetrate it so far.
Mark taken by Delahunty. It was superb at the back of the pack. Onto the chest of Moore. He wants to go. No one in the 50 as yet, but now it's a one-on-one. Nyhouse and Ryan both hit the deck. Stevenson is there. They've got some space to operate. Horsley, 40 out. The skipper, a stand, a start, a goal! Wow, what a game he's having.
Game on, the 2016 WAFL Grand Final. And Kyle Horsley, he has been outstanding, up to 29 disposals now. He's had 8 clearances. He's kicked a couple of important goals. And the contest between him and Blakely is a really important one at the moment.
What a showcase for WA football. 12 points the margin. Subi lead in this department. The clearances, they win another one. Almost to the 50. It escapes Wheeler's grasp, but they have field position.
What do they do there, Belly? Do they look to put someone on Horsley? Because he looks like the one that's really dragging him back into this contest from a Subiaco point of view.
Yeah, I'd look for the switch. DeLuca's done a very good job on Kitchen. You don't like making those kinds of switches, but Horsley's been the one. His second quarter was brilliant, and third was pretty good as well.
Ryan slung with the hand pass away. Blakely, brilliant in congestion, just found an option. Kick towards half-back is out on the full, so it's coming back. And with about 7 minutes of playing time remaining, Subiaco, you feel, just have Peel on the back foot. Kick by Leesman was a scrambler. Taken by Phelan. Couldn't get the hand pass away cleanly. Absorbing battle continues.
Next 10 minutes important, even to Matt DeBoer to go to him. You know, try and beat him back the other way, but his influence has been profound.
It's an interesting contest because Blakely has had 27 touches as well and been really important at the moment. A couple of goals to Horsley, probably has his nose in front at the moment.
Toomey's kick through the legs of Phelan. Hand pass knocked down. DeBoer wins it, gives it to Bootsma. Subi pressing. It ends up with Phelan. He dropped the pill. He goes down. Gocky is there. It's all about little moments, little half chances.
Umpire's doing a good job at the moment too. A lot of pressure on them in those moments. Players trying to duck their heads, but so far the right calls have been made.
Big slap out of there. Well done by O'Brien. The hand pass was terrific. And Blakely's kick is run down by Toomey. Subiaco sense they're just starting to win the arm wrestle.
That forward line pressure's been outstanding, in particular in this third quarter from Subiaco. They're locking the ball inside their forward 50 and they're getting these repeat stoppages.
Well, this is a big call here. If that was out on the full, just, I think bounced the field of play.
Yeah, they missed one there. I reckon that if that went out of bounds on the full, well,
I don't think it did, to be honest. The replay, I think,
it looked like it bounced on the line.
Yes.
Did you say? Yeah.
So on that basis,
it should be okay. It should be a boundary throw. And as we have a look at this,
ooh, maybe we're
maybe
wrong.
not. Yeah,
well,
I think the umpire's got it right there.
If they had a look at the big screen, maybe.
Well, that's what it's there for.
They should use it. It's such a big game, so important to get the right result.
Bryan called to play on. Takes on O'Brien, arches the back, kicks long. It's a deep ball, and probably too deep.
Too long in the end. He got a good piece of it, didn't he, Bryan? It was a massive kick.
He's looked good today, Bryan. Love the way he takes the game on.
The man bun happening as well. And he's part of this Subiaco side that continues to press. Pearce assesses, has Collins in short. Up the middle, mark not accepted by Langdon. It's Topo down to there, down goes DeBoer. Did he dive on it? Well, there's a big decision or two to be made by the umpires, and they probably made the right call. Kick by Collins, a high floater. Robinson in front, Razunga almost. Subiaco win it back. Phelan back to a dangerous spot, but Blakely is in the way. And they've got some numbers broadcast side. Not sure he's prepared to take that risk. Blakely's kick, well, it might end up in good hands of Mzungu. Wasn't designed that way, but Peel will take it.
Very good above his head, Tendai Mzungu. Great strength of his.
Just got to find a way to get the ball forward to centre at the moment. Peel getting the game played in their defensive 50, which is not ideal.
Wonderful contest. Subiaco break. Delahunty, they're on the advance here. If that sits, Broughton. Oh, gave it straight up to Mzungu. The pressure's enormous. DeBoer, and now Mzungu. The great mates collaborate. Griffin is part of that pack on the outer side. Subiaco win it back. A clearing kick. Important ball. Kitchen, when it counted. Lots of Peel bodies back, so he can't go quickly. Lee Kitchen, quite correctly, just angles it wide of the corridor, and the ball's knocked over by Collins.
Peter Bell mentioned it earlier. Subiaco just starting to win the 50-50s at the moment. Peel are under a lot of pressure at the moment in their defensive half. They're kicking the ball quickly, and because Subiaco are able to win the football back, that's the reason why they're getting the ball back inside forward 50.
Cocky, 50 out, the veteran. It's across the face, and it scrambles home for a point. In this quarter, 10-1 inside 50s in favour of Subiaco. In fact, the last 10 minutes dominated by the Lions.
Peel not getting much out of their big forwards. Griffin, Clark, Atlas all need to lift.
Back into play. Tucker with the tackle. Cocky over it. Subin feeds it wide. Lockyer close to the boundary line and eventually over. We've seen some one-sided grand finals in recent years. This one, though, you get the feeling, won't be decided until deep in the last.
This is a classic, and Paul Hazelby's right. The long kick down the line's going to Aptness and Griffin, who are not marking the ball and then offering no pressure whatsoever, and Subia sweeping it away.
That was clever by Delahunty. Didn't contest the ruck work, but then swooped. Peel have won it back. Mzungu wins it. Nothing to go to, so he just bombs it and asks something of Shane Yarran. And he's got a perfect bounce. This will hurt. This will sting. And Yarran with a dagger through the heart of his former club.
Well, you have a look at the bounce here. Could not have bounced any better for Shane Yarran. End over end towards goal when you're the fastest bloke out there, and he's kicked 5 against his old club.
Bendai Mzungu important as well. Just put the one hand up, couldn't mark it, but like a basketball, just bounced it to himself and got it on.
Against the flow.
Yep, only 2 of the last 10 inside 50s to Peel, but they've made one of those count. Phelan, a scrambler. Pearce intercepts on the bounce. Towards Ballot, and he's happy to see it over. The margin was 15 at quarter time. Subiaco have dominated this term. They're now by 16 points. Closing in on 3/4 time, still so delicately poised. Clark and Delahunty, body on body. Cocky in there as well. Toomey the last player to touch it.
Yeah, he's had a big quarter, Tendai Mzungu. 9 disposals along with Ed Langdon. Phelan 9, Moore, Toomey, Robinson 8 for Subi in the quarter alone.
On the wing. Toomey, little give and gather. Horsley, Cocky's been wonderful. Shrugs another tackle, hoping for a forward to stand up. That one just hooking too far, but his bullocking work has to be admired. Silvani. Didn't hit it all that sweetly. Clark over the top. Delahunty goes to ground. Clark working pretty well at ground level. Well, there's a bit happening in that.
It's going to be a free kick to Zach Clark, is it? But I saw the umpire gesturing.
Ninth possession for Clark. Delahunty, the other ruckman, he's had it 21 times. So it's worked for Subiaco around the ground. Of course, Clark and Griffin dominant.
Toomey.
Dangerous tackle. What was
dangerous tackle?
So Zach Clark wins the free kick by Toomey on report. Umpire very thorough with his note-taking. As we tick into the 32nd minute of this third quarter. Half forward. O'Brien got it from Ballot. It's a pretty important trap as well by Jackson. Across to Phelan. Shitting it forward with Hughes.
Got him high.
And another high contact. Connor Blakely. Another goal here, and you'd suspect the mountain will be a massive one for Subiaco. Could this be their last chance of the quarter? Blakely's kick, well, a double-fisted spoil instead of a mark. Ballot couldn't take it, and the siren does sound. to end an enthralling third quarter. Still a bit happening.
It's on. The benches are cleared. Umpires losing control at the moment.
And there's been a bit of bad blood brewing through the course of the afternoon. Just about done and dusted. And Nick Subin is really fired up to try and make his presence felt. Nothing unusual about that.
One thing's for sure, we're in for a big last quarter of footy. Save your energy now, boys.
It's 16 points, and Nick Subin is in the middle of all of that. Mouthing off alongside Clancy Wheeler, Connor Blakely. The young guns of Peel/Fremantle are making their presence felt. It is a 16-point lead, and Peel on the cusp of their first ever premiership, but Subiaco are not going to give up their title without one heck of a fight.
Nick Subin's into the assistant coach here. This is not good. The assistant's getting involved.
Well, that's some discipline. And the umpires are doing their best to intervene. Some cool heads are required from both parties, and some of those Peel officials and Subiaco officials, for that matter, need to get back to where they belong, and that's not in the middle of all that. What it does do is add some wonderful spice to the last quarter. 9-11 plays 7-7, don't go anywhere. A huge last quarter coming up, and also on 7 Sport, Mason Cox, what an impact he's made, the big American in the AFL. $16 points to lead as we head down to Steve Butler with the coach of Subiaco.
You got Jared Schofield. Jared, you were pretty disappointed your side wasn't fierce enough in the first quarter. It's pretty fair to say they're up and about now.
Oh, look, whether that's due to the time off, I don't know. But, yeah, look, we had the game in our hands then, and the momentum has swung throughout the whole game, and we feel like we've got momentum now, and it's going to be a cracker of a last quarter.
Very good luck, mate. I hope you get there.
Thanks.
Jared Schofield heads to the box, and this is a quarter where if you blink you might miss something quite special. Subiaco aiming for 3 consecutive premierships. Peel Thunder on the verge of their first ever 2 decades in this competition. Last quarter of the Maccas WAFL Grand Final is underway. And needless to say, with Phelan wrapped up by De Boer, the first goal becomes critical.
That's tackle 14 for Matt De Boer. Keep an eye on that one. Yes, you're exactly right, Mark Reddings. If Peel get the first, it makes it really tough for Subi.
Horsley, once again, terrific. Waters slaps it in the Ryan direction. He goes to ground. He's pounced upon, and the whistle's blown.
He's played it pretty well, Nyhouse, through the afternoon.
Seen Liam Ryan down there stretching. A lot of the guys at 3/4 time from Subiaco getting a lot of massages. As we know, only their second game in 36 days. So it'll be really interesting to see if they can run this game out.
Kitchen to a dangerous part of the ground. The fish came from Collins. Hughes And Silvani attacks it. He goes to ground. Kitchen likewise. And the ball is held up 45 out.
He's been impassable, Alex Silvani, one of the best players on the ground so far, regardless of the result.
Shepherd knocks it clear, did well. Toomey looking for a player, couldn't find one. Silvani stood in the tackle. Across to Hughes, a little fumble in the pocket. Hughes scrambles a ball. Mzungu couldn't lay the tackle. Ball ends up at the top of the square. Players hit the deck. Toomey goes to ground. There's a free kick. A whistle to who?
Sliding in against Subiaco, against Toomey. Took their legs from under.
Yeah, I'd have to say it was probably there. Always at risk when you go to ground like that and get somebody's legs.
Good kick to Blakely. Had to be perfect, and the ball was.
He's been brilliant again this afternoon, Blakely. Up to disposal number 30. He's had 8 clearances, coming off 42 touches last week.
What a final series.
Hughes' kick, it's chopped off. Lockyer receives it, jams it on the boot. Delahunty in front. The pressure came from Clark. Delahunty did brilliantly. Across to Phelan. They need a mark. They need someone to stand up. And Collins in the way, outstanding. They just can't generate enough ball for their forwards. Well, certainly the forwards can't find a way past this Peel defence.
Just got to find a target inside forward 50 at the moment, Subiaco, because they're getting enough supply but just haven't been able to make the most of the opportunities.
Langdon's kick was sound.
But very good lead by Ballack. 40, 50 metres, and Langdon didn't panic. Good composure, and that's going to be so important in this last quarter. Fatigue sets in, errors creep in. Who's got the composure?
As we said, the next goal critical. If it goes to Peel, it could be curtains as Lockyer goes to ground. A hurry ball. Ballack wrestling. He's over the footy. Did he drag it back? Robinson with him. He's
won a free kick.
Well, the umpire let them go until that point.
Must have been very close to holding the ball at one stage. The play lingered, the ball jarred loose, and then Ballack, the Subi player, was into his back.
Afforded some space. Langdon takes on Stevenson. Yaron's in the vicinity. You have a look at it. Lockyer. Can they break? It's all hurry. It's knocked down. The ball couldn't take it. Mzungu can. To full forward. Bell was up. Yaron, watch out. The danger man, the X-Factor man, has missed.
Wow, he is looking so dangerous. I reckon he kicked that 9 times out of 10 too, Yaron. And that's probably been the difference so far in this game. Peel have got Shane Yaron in their forward line that's creating a lot of opportunities. Unfortunately for Subiaco, they just haven't been able to have the same impact with their forwards.
Oh, huge ball to be won here. It's a free kick. It's a Subiaco ball. I think it is. Horsley was advantage played. It must have been. It's turned over, irrespective. Crunch. Great tackle. There's some pepper on that as well.
What a clash that was.
Well, it's the ball must have gone high.
Horsley and Mzungu, both balls going at the ball.
Not sure how Subin wins that free kick, but it has been awarded as Mzungu. Back to Blakely. Mzungu 55 out, takes something off the kick. Aptness in the vicinity. Marnie is there. Yaron left it behind. Marnie goes to ground. Squirts at the back. Leishman taken by Yaron.
That's got to be holding the ball. Once he puts it on the ground like that, unfortunately.
Gerald Ugle has won himself the football. The captain, young man in charge, tries to steer it home, and he does just that. Peel Thunder closing in on their first flag.
Gerald Ugle, his third goal. It wasn't convincing when it came off the boot. As there's the free kick to Subin. Maybe it was for a bit of treatment after there from Broughton. Been feisty. Ugle kicks his third. And you'd have to say that was a little undisciplined.
23 points the margin. Clark, Kitchen, Delahunty was terrific there. feeling. He'd have his legs taken out, not according to the umpire. The ball goes to ground. Subin busts through. And Langdon scoots clear on the outer side. 3 bounces. They're not coming at him just yet. Drives a deep ball. Yaron in front. Hold on. Close to the line. Subiaco can escape. Jackson coughs it up. And the wall of the dam feels like it's bursting, about to break. Ballard uses a runner. And Langdon's kick well wide of where it should have been.
I'm sure they thought that through too well to the outside, under pressure. The two youngsters there, they've both been pretty good. Ballard and Langdon particularly, 29 disposals, 22 kicks, 9 inside 50s. That's an exceptional afternoon.
He set him up in the first quarter. He was brilliant. A lot of metres gained.
Bryant sends the ball long. And the mark taken by Wheeler on the second attempt. Have to take some risks here, Subiaco. And there's one of them through the hands of Wazungu. Got past Robinson. Pearce. Tendai's getting busy. Trying to straighten up and hit a target. He does neither. Jackson lost it. Blakely with the pressure. And Bryan across to Lockyer. A hurried kick to half-back. Subi will win it. Robinson, not much to kick to, so uses hands. Kitchen, Toomey, got a ball short to Moore, about 70 out. Heads towards Shepherd, but it's a terrible kick. Missed the mark, and the moment has passed with Nyhouse.
He did that well, Nyhouse. He left his man and Liam Ryan. I reckon the conditions given out. He's had some leg issues and a bit of cramping. He's coming from the field.
Langdon, close to the boundary line. Almost a mark. Peel all over Subiaco at the moment. Blakely turns and lobs it in the Yaron direction. Crunch, bodies going down. Left, right and centre. Yaron hasn't moved. Jackson's in distress. Mzungu across by hand. And the kick across the face of goal.
Looks like the umpire's blown his whistle.
Gonna have a bounce down. Yaron hasn't moved. I think it's Heel. Is it Heel next to him? It was so courageous.
It was Jackson. It was Jackson coming off his man. Just
well, that's a ricochet head collision with Apinis, I reckon. That's what has done the damage.
We'll have a delay in the game right now. Shane Yaron, some concern for him. We talked about the impact he's had on the game and possibility of winning the medal at the end of all this, because a 5-goal haul under these circumstances. Liam Ryan, as you said, Peter, he looks like he's really cramping up and feeling sore.
He is. He needs to work his way through it because already 1 down. So he'll get some treatment now. That's an extended period, as unfortunately Shane Yaron looks to be in a spot of bother, but they need Liam Ryan out there. So the physios and the therapists will be working very hard on Liam Ryan. But this was an unbelievably courageous contest between a number of players, and hopefully Shane Yaron will be okay.
The expectation is, with the extra weeks they've had off, that they would run over him, but I think not having that continuity and that hard body of work over the last 4 or 5 weeks has really been difficult for Subiaco. They're going to find it tough from here.
So a delay of play here as great care is taken for Shane Yaron. He's getting to his feet.
That's terrific to see. I mean, he's not feeling well, but
apart from the results of the grand finals, he hasn't had much luck when it comes to his body in the past 2 seasons.
Well, 2 years in a row, he's kicked 5 goals in the grand final, and 2 years in a row, he may end up on the bench when the siren sounds, but let's hope that he's going to be okay. Great news that he's up to his feet. And after
is that
all
what
this,
happens? Does it become a free, it becomes a free kick to Peel because they're in possession of the footy? Is that the rule?
It looks that way, which is unfortunate because they did have a shot on goal which went astray. And in the context of this game, it's massive.
Yes, there'll be a few raised eyebrows, but according to the law of the game, that is what the umpires are guided by. And Harley Ballock. I want to talk about another Harley at the Fremantle Football Club. Well, the people who know this young man, former basketballer, suggest he could be something quite special.
Yeah, he's shown an aptitude for nice, clean hands in close. He's got a bit of swagger about him and a good change of direction. Kicking needs a bit of work from what I've seen of him, which is not much, but he's had a pretty good grand final so far, Harley Ballock. 18 disposals.
Of course, qualified under difficult circumstances, didn't he, or dubious circumstances. Put into the team list when he wasn't fit. Here he is, with a shot for goal. Potentially put Subiaco away.
I'm sure Lions supporters would like you to recount that story, Paul, but that's true. Yes, exactly. As it stands, this to make life really tough for Subiaco. It's on its way and just fading across the face.
Got a bit close to the man on the mark there, and it wasn't a convincing routine, was it? A lot of stuttering in there, which is okay, but just got too close to the man on the mark.
Spoken a lot today about Silvani's job on Shepherd, but at the other end of the ground, Jackson has done a really good job on Atmas.
Fancy Pierce, good use of the body. O'Brien over it.
Of course, Darren Rumble playing in that position. 6 premierships, I think he has to his name. They find a really good replacement.
Another number 23 who is almost the easiest name on the board to put on at the start of the week. 4-goal differential. Lions now see that time is the enemy. Delahunty driven to the ground. And this is exactly what Peel will want for the next few minutes.
Well, it's crucial. Shane Yarran's kicked half of Peel's goals. And not many of the other forwards besides Ugle, the small forward, have looked dangerous. So it is a crucial injury.
O'Brien just sneaking forward to the play, has support from Clark, who digs it out. Lawler, brilliantly tackled. Well, the umpires have shown some latitude today. And there's another case in point.
It was a good tackle by Adam Cockey. He came in really strong.
There we have it. Hayden Button Jr. hit a German, Scotty Waters, and the man in charge of the Lions today. But now focused firmly on the last 15 or so minutes of this one, and wherever Nick Subin goes, so will a hint of aggression from the Subiaco players.
Jared Schofield on screen just before. Feeling quite helpless now. 15 minutes to go in the last quarter of the grand final. He's got to find something here, Subiaco.
May only take 1 goal. But that is proving easier said than done. Of course, coming up at 6 o'clock, 7 News. And we mentioned that wonderful documentary on the 2010 AFL Grand Final later tonight on 7. Subiaco win a clearance. Bootsma kept it in front of him. Blakely across to Bootsma. In the clinches, Peel continue to thrive. Well, won by Bryan, across to Latham. They have some space. Horsley. Will he try and go to Shepherd? He does. He wins it at ground level. Horsley's kick. They need a kind bounce. Toomey didn't get that. And Bell off hands. It would play on because it was touched. Toomey goes again. In fact, it's Waters. Delahunty receives it from Moore. And guess who? He must be close. He must be close to best on ground.
2 efforts there. The first on the lead opposed to Shepherd. And it was a great kick to Shepherd. Silvani halved it and then just pushed off his opponent and took a vital mark.
Alex Silvani, what impact he's had, heel over the top, destroys the footy.
What he has done in the final series, he's got massive currency going forward, whether it's with Fremantle or another club. He's just too good a player at this level not to get further opportunity at the highest level.
Well, I thought his second half of the year, you mentioned it before, Hayes, when he went into that Fremantle team, he was very, very good at fullback.
Bryan hits the pocket. Shepherd again the target. Is there high contact there?
I thought there was.
Well, the umpires
was in a good spot too.
Earning the wrath of the Subiaco faithful, not for the first time today. Deep in the pocket. And that might have been the moment they required to slip through a goal. 24 points down, seconds ticking away. Hard to win some clean football in this scenario. And it is out of bounds. Jason to the behind post. Shepherd knocks it out of bounds, so he's had a bad day. It's got even worse.
Had a good season though, 49 goals throughout the season, limited preparation, should be very proud of his efforts.
Griffin camped in front, Cocky willing himself to the contest, great ball, Toomey needs to kick it, and he's pushed it too far to the right. It's terrific by Adam Cocky.
He's had a good game today, Adam Cocky. 23 disposals.
Zungu, that was wonderful. He had two lines either side of him. It was a dangerous ball, but in the end, worked out well. Zungu just goes laterally across to Subin. They've had the Lions at arm's length the best part of the afternoon. Looking for one final killer blow.
They did that brilliantly.
DeLuca spots up Lawler, just too much on it. Great tackle though on Jackson. Ugle feeds it out, slapped towards the line. Bell in the way. Bryan helps to intervene. Subiaco's defence under pressure yet again.
Well done, DeLuca. That was a 50-50 ball. Persisted. Got an inside 50 for his troubles, and Lawler really should have done better.
In the attacking 50 for Peel. The inside 50s have evened up. Kitchen and DeVore. I just wonder where some of these Fremantle Docker listed players will be in a few months from now.
Well, they've just done enough at the moment, Peel, especially in that third quarter where Subiaco were really coming at them. They were able just to hold up, and they would not be disappointed with this at the moment. Getting a lot of numbers around the stoppages, making it very difficult for Subiaco to win any good clearances. Terrific crowd today.
Yes, 15,000 were some concerns about the pulling power of these two clubs.
They've been rewarded for their attendance with the Griffin Grand Final.
Absolutely. And a bit of history, perhaps just minutes away, for the competition's newest club. Lawler left it behind. Waters by hand to Horsley. It's a floater, and Fancy Pearce only had one intention.
A lot of Peel supporters that come up the freeway, come and watch. Of course, they haven't had much success over the last 20 years. Good to see their past players on social media throughout the week. Daniel Haynes, Brandon Hill. Got to think for Brendan Jones, of course, retired last year. Heart and soul players.
Don't forget the likes of Johnny Ditchburn and those that have put in so many years trying to get this football club off the bottom and into a position of power, albeit with support from the Fremantle Dockers as Aptness corrals his man, allows Lawler to swoop. The Thunder on the advance. Lockyer's got to be good, and he is. Away from Ugle. He wasn't happy with the supply.
He's very, very good then, wasn't he? Sorry, Andrew. Lockyer was very good. Left his opponent.
You're right.
And effective to spoil.
You're right. Griffin was trying to take him to the goal square, but Lockyer was too smart for that. Came off his man. Got the ball out of bounds.
45 around from the Thunder goals. Over the top went Lawler. Zungu and Bryan.
Really like Bryan as a player. Paul, you mentioned him earlier. Just, I love his willingness to take the game on. He's got some speed about him, got a bit of dash as well. Really like him.
Last quarter disposals in favour of the Thunder. Ugle almost emerging with it. What a game he's had, Kyle Horsley. 38 disposals. That one was smothered. But if not for him, this margin could have been a whole lot greater.
The smother affected by, I think it was Ed Langdon, and he's been pretty good as well. 33 disposals in the 9 inside 50s, as I mentioned earlier.
Lions just can't find a way out of this defensive 50. Now a little opening. Phelan. Ryan was bundled out of it. Took a blow in the process. Subin still charging at the ball over the top of Horsley. And you feel that the energy of Subiaco is dissipating. And Peel know that all things being equal, history is just minutes away. .50 out. Lawler in there. Kitchen very strong at the contest and the man. It's almost time to start reflecting on the year that Peel has had. They've done it the tough way in terms of progressing to this part of the year. Emphatic victories over East Perth, West Perth and South Fremantle. Has not been a cruise through September. Clark knocks it clear. Langdon, terrific game around his body. Well, there's the exclamation mark for Thunder. Can start celebrating.
Big game for Ed Langdon, big week. Contract extension with the Fremantle Dockers. 34 possessions, none better than that one, Andrew. What a snap around the body, just to put a sealer on it.
What a way to finish off your day. As you mentioned, especially early in the game, I thought it was really important, that run and carry, his leg speed on the outside. He's got a big future and he's stood up in a big game today.
They win a clearance again. Blakely to the 50. Tapped clear by Griffin, and he's done enough, as have Peel Thunder. And it won't be too long, you wouldn't have thought, before Cam Shepherd makes his way boundary side.
You wouldn't think it'd be a long quarter, not many goals scored.
And another stoppage will suit Peel. Well, one WA Premier this week survived the challenge, but another is about to lose its crown as Peel Thunder count down the moments. Pearce, a hurried ball. O'Brien, almost. Jackson lost the handle. Knocked forward by Apnis. A toe poke out of there finds Heel. He spreads it wide and gives Horsley an opportunity to create. Shepherd finally breaks the shackles. Probably has the leg on him, and at this point will try and unload. Top of the square. Line in the vicinity, and Hughes receives it from Ed Langdon. Missed mark. Lions have been gallant today, but they've just been overwhelmed. Bryan by hand to Wheeler. The hot spot. Waters in front. Pummeling the footy. Horsley, kick run down. Stevenson, Bryan, another smother. Phelan through the head back. Rightfully the umpire ignored his attempt to draw the free kick. Look at that differential in smothers.
Yeah, well, 22-6, Paul Hazelby made mention of that. It's been an important part of the game. Tough gig adjudicating the Simpson medal today.
Wouldn't like that job.
Very tough gig.
In the dying moments of this one, remembering 7 News coming up at 6 o'clock. All the latest from last night's epic preliminary final victory by the Western Bulldogs against GWS. So the new kids on the block go down in the AFL, but in the WAFL, a flag is heading down the freeway. Hughes over the top, didn't take the mark. Cocky didn't get boot to ball. Across to Bell, the outside of his boot. The clever kick. In pursuit, Marnie. And Tucker does well enough. The ball is out of bounds. That's only minutes away from being presented to the Peel Football Club. Clark, Toomey in there. Blakely in support, Langdon. And Hughes has some room to operate here. Langdon calling him on, provides the Shepherd. Muzungu just left it behind. Kicked the first of the afternoon for Peel. He's had a big day at the office as well. 27 disposals.
Played the half-forward role very well. Limited midfield time in the finals. Still knows how to find the footy.
And Subiaco's forward line just unable to generate a score against this miserly defence. Peel pushes up the ground. Delahunty in a one-on-one with Subin. He heads in that direction. Off hands, ends up with Collins. And Heel intercepts 70 from home. Chris Phelan has it at the 50. Players know the result is complete. Chris Phelan, a lot of fatigue and cramp setting in for these players. He hits it well, hits it sweetly. And Subiaco receive a late boost.
A nice kick from Chris Phelan, who's battled hard today.
Another big year for Phelan.
Yeah.
He's their premier midfielder. Started his career on the half-back line, moved in the midfield, been outstanding the last 3 years.
Blakely and Muzungu. At half forward, Jackson. Bouncing ball through the interchange gates.
It's another big game again, Connor Blakely. He's shown that he is a class above at this level and be looking for a big year next year at the Fremantle Dockers. But today, in close, he's been really good, up to 38 disposals now, 9 clearances. Been one of Peel's really important players this afternoon.
Pierce backtracking. Langdon's finished this game superbly.
Does look good next year for the Fremantle midfield. Blakely, Langdon, potentially Hill, Fife to come back. Maybe Bennell. Signs are looking good from a midfield point of view.
30 minutes have elapsed. Ballock goes by hand. Atlas in a one-on-one with Jackson. Rebounds to Leishman. Phelan, a fumble. Over and out. Let's go to Steve Button with one man who's about to celebrate.
Yes, got the beating heart of the Peel Thunder Club. John Ditchburn, this must be a very good feeling, mate.
Oh, unbelievable, Bucks. Just a great day for our club, for the Peel region, and for all the boys, the 427 that have played prior to today. All the sponsors and everyone, just a fantastic day.
Go and enjoy it, mate. You've earned it.
Thanks, mate.
Johnny Ditchburn, as we said, the heart and soul of this footy club. Took the reins as coach at one point just to keep the footy team ticking over. Some junk time now, but it's a sweet feeling for every one of these players wearing teal today. It is a wonderful achievement. Muzungu have had so many contributors. Last year, of course, the Thunder in the finals, but decimated by Fremantle's involvement in the AFL in September. But it's worked to their advantage in 2016. Delahunty has tried his heart out. Cocky received it from Moore. 60 out.
I guess who?
And Silvani backtracking. What an afternoon he has had.
Have to be top of the votes. We're close to. Outstanding evening.
Yes, they'll celebrate in Mandurah tonight, and rightfully so. It's a beautiful club room they have down there now. Wonderful facilities. And the siren is not far away as Lockyer takes. Knocked down by Blakely. In front of 15,000 fans. What a day.
I have to say, Subiaco have been excellent. Excellent this afternoon. They have thrown everything at Peel. Jared Schofield mentioned it may be just a little bit off that first 10 or 15 minutes, but they are so honest, Subi.
They have given everything But after 2 decades, Peel's place in history is complete. The premiership wait is finally over. For the victors, absolute jubilation. For the Lions, the prospect, the dream of 3 consecutive premierships is over.
Outstanding, Peel. They had a wonderful final series, and today against Subiaco, who have been the dominant team in the competition for the past 2 or 3 years, they were absolutely outstanding. Terrific work by the Peel Football Club, and I'm just watching John Ditchburn and coaches and the extended playing group, and that would be tough, losing your spot when AFL listed players come back into the team. There's a number of them, but as I mentioned before, Subiaco absolutely awesome this afternoon. They gave it their best shot, but Peel just had Paul Hazelby, that experience, that strength over the footy, and they had the match winner up forward in Shane Yarran.
Yeah, they were very good in many parts of the ground, but it was all done in that first quarter. They got off to a good break, and they pretty much held that for the majority of the game, and they've just got match winners. They've got seasoned players at AFL level that today, when it really counted, they were very good. And their smothers and their pressure, outstanding. And so good for the Peel Thunder Football Club. It's been tough.
Let's head down to Cassie Silver with a special guest.
Yes, I'm down here with Rory O'Brien. You just made history. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I can't believe it's happened. When that final siren went, it was just a relief. I've been trying to get one for 13 years, and it's finally happened, and the club's first. It's going to be a big night tonight.
You missed out in 2012 with East Freo. You're back where you started with Peel. So, you know, is that a personal achievement for you?
Yeah, look, to come back to the club, obviously be involved in their first Colts premiership, now their first league premiership, it's going to mean a lot. And obviously we'll have a few beers tonight and enjoy the moment. But for everyone in Mandurah, they've been trying this for 20 years, and we finally got one.
Great. Go enjoy some time with the boys. Well done, Rory.
Thanks. Cheers.
There's Cassie Silver, and he's pretty pleased with himself, Andrew Embley, Rory O'Brien, and he was more than serviceable this afternoon.
Oh, he was outstanding. And as he mentioned to Cassie, he started his career at Peel Thunder, went to East Fremantle. He won a Sandover medal, but I tell you what, now to be a premiership player.
Let's head down to Steve Butler, who has Ed Langdon with him. Steve.
Yes, got Ed Langdon with me here. Fantastic game by you, mate. You've come all the way from Sandringham to win your first premiership in any grade, mate. Well done.
Mate, it's honestly unbelievable. I've never felt anything like this before. This is for everyone down at Peel, just for every Fremantle fan out there. This is unbelievable. I can't tell you how I feel, mate. This is honestly unbelievable.
And part of creating history.
Mate, I think that's going to be the first of many for Peel Thunder. We've set a great culture down here, and got to thank everyone down the club, everyone down in Mandurah for their support. They've been huge. We can't thank them enough, and wow, what an experience.
Deserved every bit of it today. Go and enjoy it.
Cheers, thanks, mate.
There's Steve Butler, and Ed Langdon, every right to be very pleased with his game. He'll be right up there in the Simpson medal voting. 39 disposals, if you don't mind. We'll head to the presentations in just a moment. Macca, grand final day.